Sponsored by City Express Money Transfer.
Tata 407 Mini Truck.
In association with ISMA.
दर्शकवृन्द नमस्कार। दैनिक टेलिभिजन कार्यक्रम डेभलपमेन्ट फोरमको आजको यो नयाँ एपिसोडमा यहाँलाई हार्दिक स्वागत छ। दर्शकवृन्द, विकासका विभिन्न चरणहरूमा विभिन्न सङ्घ संस्था दात्री निकायहरूको सहयोग रहने गरेको छ, जुन सहयोगले मुलुकको विकासको प्रक्रियामा कहीँ न कहीँ ठुलो सहयोग पुर्याइरहेका छन्। यसै बीचमा आज हामीले एकजना विदेशी पाहुनालाई कार्यक्रममा आमन्त्रण गरेका छौँ। उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ चान्स फर चेन्जका चेयरपर्सन शेरिफ डेभिड म्याकी। सर्वप्रथम उहाँलाई स्वागत गरौँ। मिस्टर शेरिफ डेभिड म्याकी, वेलकम टु आवर शो।
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Mr. David, this is your first time in Nepal?
No, this is my second visit. I was here about 3 years ago when Chance for Change had been established for 2 or 3 years, and I had a very interesting, quite short but interesting visit then. This week, this has also been a short visit. I've only been here for this week. Very busy though, very intensive, and it's been a very important fact-finding visit for me personally.
How you feel our country? What feel you different?
When I was here last time, I fell in love with the country. And more importantly, I fell in love with the people. You are the friendliest, happiest, and most resilient people I've met. And when I heard about the earthquake, I was horrified, and I did not know what to expect when I came this time. And I thought I might see sad people and lots of rubble and damaged buildings. But I'm very surprised at how good the country is looking. And everybody I've met has been very positive, very happy, and my impression is that the country is doing very well. Especially the young people I've met. They're very enthusiastic, resilient people.
You get, they have hope or not?
Yes, very positive, yes. I think that all the people I've met are optimistic. I've just been on a trip early this week down to Gurkha, to the village of Gampasal, where we have been doing work. And that area was badly affected by the earthquake, as you know. And first of all, the town of Gurkha is not showing any signs of the damage that was caused at the earthquake. And in Gampasal, they're still suffering from the earthquake. The school was damaged. They have temporary school buildings. A lot of people's homes were destroyed and they're living in temporary housing. But the people were so strong and happy and welcoming, and they're just getting on with it. You know.
We know that you are present president of Chance for Change.
Yes, the chairman is my
Including Nepal, Chance for Change is also working in Malawi and UK.
Yes.
So, what sort of change you want in Nepal?
Well, we've been working in Nepal for 6 years now, and our work is with young people in their late teens, the 18 to 22-year-old age, 17 to 22-year-old age group. And we want to help young people who've had a disadvantaged background to find their own strengths, to find out what they're good at, and to be able to move on to lead a positive life under their own resources. And that is the focus of our work in the UK and Malawi and here. That is our basic ethos. Our work here was interrupted by the disaster of the earthquake, and I'm proud to say that our funders gave us permission to interrupt our work and to help with rebuilding. And for 2 years we have been helping mainly with rebuilding. But now is a time for us to review the work we're doing and to find out whether the work we're doing is addressing the needs that exist, or whether there's other work that we can be getting involved in that would address other needs. The work we do in Malawi, the new project that we have there, is related to criminal justice and the treatment of young offenders. And we think that's an area that we might find that there's a need for here in Nepal. And that's one of the areas that we've been investigating this week.
Mr. David, Nepal already agreed on International Child Rights Convention.
Yes.
What are the challenges in implementation part?
It might help if I explain that my experience as a judge in Scotland is with a judicial system which has embraced the idea of a problem-solving approach to criminal justice. The best example I can give of that is that in the late 1990s, there was developed in the United States of America the idea of a court order called a Drug Treatment and Testing Order. And this was an order to address people who were committing crime to fund a drug addiction, a drug habit. And the simple proposition is that if you can address the drug problem, if you can cure the drug addiction, then you'll cure the crime. It's a simple idea, but it works. And in Scotland, we adopted the Drug Treatment and Testing Order in the late 1990s. And these orders are very successful. And that idea of addressing the problem which has caused someone to lead to crime, to become involved in crime and into conflict with the law, is one which we have taken further in Scotland. And so, for example, as a judge, I know, everyone understands that some crimes are so bad that only a prison sentence will address the abhorrence that society has for the crime that's been committed. But it is widely accepted that the purpose of sentencing in crime is first of all retribution, which is punishment for the crime. Secondly, rehabilitation of the offender to try and divert the offender from further offending. And thirdly, to avoid recidivism, to avoid repeat crimes. And some crimes need a higher element of punishment, but some crimes need more rehabilitation and more help to support the offender. And in Scotland, we have developed an order called the Community Payback Order. And that is an order which I can make as a sheriff, and I can choose from a menu of up to 13 elements to include in the order. For example, the most common is supervision with a social worker. And that means that the offender would have regular meetings, serious one-to-one meetings with a social worker. They would have work to do, and that's supervision. But also, the order might include an element of punishment which can still be done in the community, such as unpaid work. In Scotland, we have the good fortune of being quite a wealthy country, and we have the additional option of electronic monitoring. That is a tag that's fitted to the offender, and that can be used to impose a curfew to keep the offender in his home between certain hours. Very often it's at night time from, say, 8 o'clock in the evening until 6 o'clock in the morning. Or it can be used to keep an offender out of a certain place. If somebody's been stealing from a shop, then we can use the tag to stop them going into the shop. So we have these means of imposing an element of punishment, but punishment which does not take the individual into prison, and it means they can still continue living with their family and contributing. But in addition, we might have specific programs, for example, in relation to domestic abuse or sex offending, where particular issues can be addressed in a program. And that community payback order might last for a year, 2 years, depending on the requirements. But the key element of the community payback order is that I, as the sheriff, can review it personally as the order progresses. I don't do that with everyone, but with many orders, I will have regular meetings with the young person who's on the order, and that is done in a less formal setting than the court. I actually do it in the jury room of my court, and I sit at a table. I dress like this. I don't have any formal attire on, and there's only me, the offender, the social worker, and the lawyer. And very often the lawyer doesn't say anything. It becomes a conversation between me and the offender and the social worker. And these are short hearings. They're like consultations with a doctor. They last 5-10 minutes. But I claim no personal credit. But research has shown that engagement between the offender and the sentencing judge is incredibly important. That's what was found in research in the United States in relation to drug treatment and testing orders that I mentioned earlier. And that engagement with the sentencing judge is very important, because young people who've been offending, they come to me and they want to show their best. They dress smartly. They want to tell me good things that have happened, good things that are happening. So this problem-solving approach, this community-based treatment of offenders is proving very effective. And I can tell you that other countries, I paid a visit to New Zealand in 2011, and their approach to it is even more advanced, I think, than in Scotland.
I assume you are interested to work in justice sector. If it's so, what could be possible area for intervention?
Well, with young offenders. Our interest at Chance for Change is to help young people improve their lives. And we feel that very often young offenders' entire lives are spoiled, are blighted by a mistake made when they were very young. And they might end up in prison. I'm still learning about the Nepal justice system. I want to learn from our friends in Nepal as to what needs might exist here, but it is work with youths and youth offenders that we would be interested in doing.
You are all, well known about the contemporary situation of Nepal.
Yes.
And you already made some high-profile personalities of our country. How was your discussion? Could you share with us, our viewers also?
Well, this week we had a meeting with the judiciary, and we found our meeting with them very positive. They're very interested in the ideas that we are promoting, and we will be having further discussions with them. Yesterday, Greg Barton, my chief executive, whom you met already, and I made a presentation to the Rotary Club, and we met some people there who, again, were very interested in these ideas. These are ideas which are not new to me, but I have the impression that the idea of community-based disposals in relation to young offenders, ways of keeping young people in the community as our young people, and not handing them over to a prison as somebody else's problem, seems to be creating some interest. So our engagement has been very positive so far. But I emphasize, we're here to learn. A problem-solving approach to justice is more a state of mind. It's not a question of resources. And what is more important to me is to understand what might work in Nepal. For example, unpaid work is something that we do easily in Scotland, but I don't know if unpaid work is something that would work very easily here because of the social norms, the social views, and these are things I want to learn about. But there may be other ways in which a Nepali can tell me that a young offender could contribute back to society as part of an order.
Mr. David, could you share us a bit about the key purpose of your visit?
Yes, the purpose of my visit this week is very much to learn. So it's a fact-finding visit for me and for my colleagues, because we want to review what we're doing. we are working in 6 different areas in Nepal at the moment, mainly in the area of education. We've established a school down in the Terai region, and we're doing work in other areas. But we feel that our work would be more effective if we could be more focused in what we do. The purpose of this visit is to help us then go on to review the work we're doing and to be able to engage more clearly with our funders.
Mr. Sheriff Mackie, what are the main strengths of Chance for Change, and how Chance for Change is different from other youth-based organizations?
Well, I can't speak for other organizations, but Chance for Change, our emphasis is on helping young people find their own strengths. We want to help young people become leaders in society. We want to help them become entrepreneurs. And so we lead some people into small loans, microloans, and establishing their own businesses. We help some young people find training and education. But our aim is to help young people who've had a difficult background find their own strengths and to make the best of themselves. And in countries like Nepal and Malawi, we hope that the work we do will help young people fulfill their aspirations in their own country, in their own village, and not feel it necessary to leave the country to find their fortune elsewhere. These are the fundamental principles that guide us and that we want to help with. And so we're not giving material things, we're not giving money, we're trying to help young people find their own strengths, and then they can contribute to society and lead fulfilling lives.
Mr. Sheriff Mackie, what are the major achievements of Chance for Change after implementing in the project in Nepal? Could you assure our viewers?
Yes, well, we have contributed to the lives of young people coming through our hands. We have worked mainly in the Gorkha area, around the village of Gampasal. We have one of our members of staff lived there for 2 years. Very sadly, James Howell, he died in a mountaineering accident, and he's no longer with us, and that was a very sad event. But he lived with the young people he was working with, and I met some of these young people there. One of the young people we worked with is now a leader in that society up there in Gampasal, and she's leading a women's group, we've helped the young people there become more confident and more resilient, and that is the measure of our success, is in helping people to become more confident and to be able to make their own way in life. But in addition to that, we have made some material differences. For example, down in the Terai region, we've built a school. The first visit I had 3 years ago, we visited there and we saw what was needed, and we helped in a small way in building a school in the village. But that school is there now and it's functioning, and we provided furniture and equipment. Up in Gampasal also we have helped with the school there with its library. We've provided books and shelves and desks and basic equipment, which is so important to help young people learn and advance.
Yes, sir. What are the future plans in Nepal of your organization?
Our plans we will now discuss our plans for the future. But we think that we will be moving more towards the work in the criminal justice sector, working with the prison, possibly working in the prison. That's one area, but possibly also helping. I may say that you in Kathmandu you have a centre of excellence in youth offending. There's the centre for young offenders where which is very similar to the work we do in Malawi. And we have nothing to teach our friends here in Nepal about that, but we might be able to help with capacity building in relation to that work. So that's an area that we might become involved in supporting the good work that's already being done there. And it may be that we will see if there's any possibility of our establishing our own centre, if that's necessary in Nepal.
You already made the major top personalities. They are ready to work with Chance for Change?
No, I think that we have to form our own views. We have to make our own decisions. And as ever, the biggest problem in our sector is obtaining funding. So we want to have a clear product, a clear idea that we can present to our funders that they will embrace and support us with. So we want to devise our own ideas. We haven't decided yet. We're about to embark on a review, and we will make our plans for the future. But we will then present that to funders, and hopefully we'll be able to start with further work here. But the work we're doing will continue. The work we're currently doing will continue, and we will continue to support the young people that we're already working with and do the good work that's already continuing.
Mr. Sheriff Mackie, we are at the end of the interview. Anything you would like to say?
I would just like to say that for me personally, it has been, I always find it a very beautiful country to visit, beautiful people to meet, and I hope that we can contribute positively. My sense is that the notion of community-based disposals for young offenders is possibly a new idea in this country, and I hope that I can help in creating an understanding of the benefits of that. But I'm not here to say that that is the right way to do it, or that is what Nepali society should do. It's not for me to say that. I can say that it's what we do in Scotland. I've found that it's a positive way of dealing with people. It helps keep young offenders in the community, and if we can contribute in any similar way to Nepali society, then that would make me very happy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sheriff Mackie, for your time and your valuable words also.
Well, thank you very much for having me here. Thank you.
दर्शकवृन्द, आज हामीले कुराकानी गर्यौं नेपालमा पनि काम गरिरहेको चान्स फर चेन्जका चेयरपर्सन मिस्टर शेरिफ डेभिड म्याक्कीसँग आज हामीले कुराकानी गर्यौं। विशेष गरी चान्स फर चेन्जले नेपाल, मलावी र युकेमा काम गरिरहेको छ र यसले गरेका अन्य मुलुकमा गरेका काम निकै उदाहरणीय पनि छन् र ती कुराहरूलाई नेपालमा पनि लागू गर्ने प्रयत्न, ल्याउने प्रयत्न, नेपाल अनुकूलका त्यस्ता कार्यक्रमहरू लागू गर्ने प्रयत्न चान्स फर चेन्जले गरिरहेको छ। अहिले पनि गोर्खा लगायतका विभिन्न जिल्लामा चान्स फर चेन्जले काम गरिरहेको छ र आजको हाम्रो यो संवादमा अतिथिका रूपमा स्टुडियोसम्म आइदिनु भएकाले चान्स फर चेन्जका चेयरपर्सन मिस्टर शेरिफ डेभिड म्याक्कीलाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिँदै म कार्यक्रम सञ्चालक शिव अधिकारी र सम्पूर्ण टिम आज्ञा माग्छु। भोलि फेरि नयाँ विषय र सन्दर्भ लिएर हामी आउनेछौँ। तबसम्मका लागि आज्ञा दिनुहोस्। नमस्ते।
आयो 407 बुढो 407 आयो 407 बुढो 407 काठमाडौँको गल्लीमा टाटा 407 माल भारी बोक्ने धेरै गल्ली गल्ली छिर्ने जहाँ पनि लोड अनलोड गर्न मिल्ने आयो 407
भरपर्दो किफायती र शक्तिशाली गाडी टाटा 407 मिनी ट्रक।
रिलायबल डेभलपमेन्ट बैंकले ल्याएको छ 120 दिने मुद्दती बचतमा 9% ब्याज अफर। विशेषताहरू: न्यूनतम मौजदात 5 लाख हुनुपर्ने, 120 दिनपछि एकमुष्ट ब्याज, 1100 भन्दा बढी एससीटी नेटवर्कबाट एटीएम मार्फत निशुल्क रकम झिक्न सक्ने सुविधा। यो योजना सबै शाखाहरूबाट उपलब्ध छ। रिलायबल डेभलपमेन्ट बैंक लिमिटेड, रिलायबल फर प्रोग्रेस।